Chapter 31. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Slightly alarming. Enough about me, let's talk about you. If Ruan Mengmeng had to explain the reasoning behind her transfer to the school, she would have to talk about her mom. Aren't you usually friendly with everyone? Why were those guys giving you a hard time? Tisk, I'd rather not talk about it. Mu Jingxing unhappily pouted his lips. It's all because of Gu Xian. Ruan Jiaojiao and he make the perfect, most shameless pair. Just because they were scared of people saying they were in cahoots, he tried to counteract it by spreading rumors about other people. Everyone knew the relationship between Gu Xian and you. You were intended to be Gu Xian's righteous future wife. But when they took the bribe from Gu Xian and Ruan Jiaojiao, they also started a rumor saying that you'd always been jealous of Ruan Jiaojiao since young. That you knew she liked Gu Xian, so you stole your little sister's crush and badgered Gu Xian until he got together with you out of spite for her. I couldn't stand by and listen to what they were saying, so I argued with them. I guess that really rustled Gu Xian's feathers. Mu Jingxing did not have to continue elaborating on what unfolded right after, as Ruan Mengmeng already knew. She was childhood friends with Mu Jingxing and Gu Xian, and they grew up together. Gu Xian was around the same age as her, roughly a few months older, while Mu Jingxing was a year younger than both of them. Compared to the frivolous Mu Jingxing, who was known to spend his parents' money flippantly, Gu Xian was the guy who had graduated from college and worked in a company. Naturally, people would take the latter's side. Forget about it. I just want to know more about my big sis's story. Let the two of them say whatever they want. Let's go. I'll walk you to class. I think we're in the same class. Oh, you're in the same class as me. Alright, let's go then. Mu Jingxing's head was somewhere else when Ruan Mengmeng told him that she wanted to go to class. He looked over at Ruan Mengmeng but dropped his head. He took another glance at her and lowered his head again, still deep in his thoughts. At the same time, elsewhere, Ling Bei completed his assigned tasks and reported to Li Junyu. Young master, don't worry. Everything's settled with the school. Although senior, 13, is not as good as the other classes, Miss said that in the coming examinations, she'll. Senior, 13. A cold and low voice emanated from the phone. The tone was indifferent, but under the low voice, there was a sense of hounding that made Ling Bei shiver. Yes. It's senior, 13. WPA said that the rules required the school to split the classes according to their performance in the examinations held throughout each semester. For Miss, she was only eligible for senior, 13, given her test scores during the assessment. I, Li Junyu, will accept nothing but the best class, the person speaking on the other end of the line continued in a low voice. It was as if the stern voice that replied did not hear a single word of Ling Bei's explanation. But young master, the classes are already set. Furthermore, you said that we should keep a low profile so that they won't, so, are you questioning my decision? Even though they were separated by the phone, Ling Bei could feel the air getting colder as the man's thin lips curved downward into a fearsome arch. No, sir, I would never. Li Junyu shifted his feet and his voice still as cold as ice said, wait there, I'll be there in an hour. Year 3 Senior, 13, Classroom. Ruan Mengmeng tailed close behind Mu Jingxing into the classroom. The moment she set foot in the classroom, all eyes were on her. All the male classmates took a good look at Ruan Mengmeng and were stunned into silence as their eyes sparkled in adoration. As for the female classmates, some of them admired her while others looked on in envy. Of course, some of them were jealous as well. Chapter 32. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Already famous in WPA, Jingxing, you're back. Fatty and the rest were asking for you just now, are you alright? Yeah, the two of us wanted to get someone to help us out, but big cousin bro stopped us. It doesn't matter how arrogant Fatty gets, he'll never actually start a fight with anyone. I'm sure it has something to do with people from senior, 1. At that time, Mu Jingxing's best buddies in class, Yi Hangting and Li Yifan, walked into the classroom. When the two of them saw Mu Jingxing, they immediately surrounded him. "I'm fine," but before Mu Jingxing could finish his sentence, Yi Hangting let out a deranged cry. Who is this fellow classmate? I've never seen her before." Yi Hangting's eyes were locked onto Ruan Mengmeng, unable to look away. Li Yifan, who was standing beside Yi Hangting, acted even more melodramatic. When he saw the fresh-faced Ruan Mengmeng with delicate features, his tanned face blushed a sweltering shade red. "Oh. This is the new girl that just transferred to our school. She's called Mengmeng. The teacher told me to bring her over to our class." What a cute name." Yi Hangting and Li Yifan teased. Ruan Mengmeng slightly raised her eyebrows. What was going on with Mu Jingxing? When she was introduced to the two guys, he acted like she was just another ordinary student. Furthermore, he only told them her first name and seemed to have intentionally avoided giving out her full name. "Oh yeah, Ms. Li told you to take the seat beside me." Mu Jingxing nudged Ruan Mengmeng with his elbow, hinting her to follow him. "My seat's over there. Follow me." Ruan Mengmeng had no reason not to trust Mu Jingxing and did what she was told without any questions. She smiled at Yi Hangting as well as Li Yifan and followed Mu Jingxing to their seats. When the two of them were seated, Ruan Mengmeng put her backpack down before she asked, "Mr. Prim and proper, what's gotten into you? Why did you just act like you didn't know me? Sigh, you don't know the situation here at WPA." Mu Jingxing took a textbook and held it up in front of them to hide them from the view of their classmates. He made sure no one around them was looking before he whispered, "In order to let students make their own decisions on things, WPA's student council has as much authority as the teachers." The previous student council president was Gu Xian while the vice president was Ruan Jiaojiao. Since Gu Xian has graduated, Ruan Jiaojiao is most likely going to become this term's president. Don't you know, they have a long-standing influence on this school. The name Ruan Mengmeng carries a horrible reputation in our school. Even though you have never even been to WPA, there are rumors about you around every corner of the school." Ruan Mengmeng's eye turned cold in an instant. What other nonsense has she been spouting apart from me allegedly stealing her man? It became clear why Mu Jingxing always said it was a good thing she did not go to WPA. It turned out that Ruan Jiaojiao not only hated her in primary school, but she also despised her in junior high school as well. Even when they were both in different senior high schools, she still would not let go of it. For example, she told everyone that you were greedy. "Not only did you steal Gu Xian away, but she also threw me into the mix as well, adding me to the list of men you have messed around with," Mu Jingxing said as he looked into her eyes, hiding his coy. "With you?" Ruan Mengmeng's head was about to explode. Yeah. In everyone's mind, they have this perfect picture of Ruan Jiaojiao being the most honest, perfect model student who would never tell a lie. On the other hand, everyone's told that you're involved with gangsters and associate with hooligans. That you're the evil sister who constantly threatens and bullies her. And the incident of Ruan Jiaojiao's mom being pushed down the stairs which caused her miscarriage had already spread throughout the entire school on the first day of class. But that's not even the worst of the rumors. I've told you this before, but Big Sis Shishir is a WPA legend with an enormous group of supporters. Ruan Jiaojiao told everyone that you're responsible for Big Sis Shishir's death. That if it weren't for you suddenly demanding that you wanted to eat Chen Ji's roasted goose, your big sis wouldn't have driven out in the middle of the night and her accident would have been avoided. What kind of bullsh *t is this motherf *ker spouting? She went out because of her company's call that night. Ruan Mengmeng slammed down on the table hard and stood up. At that exact moment, Li Xiuli, the class teacher, came into the classroom. "Ruan Mengmeng, what are you doing?" Ms. Li said with a serious look on her face and with the coldest tone as she called out Ruan Mengmeng's full name. In a matter of seconds, the entire class was in a complete uproar. Chapter 33. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Looking for trouble, what? Is she the ignorant and incompetent second miss from the Ruan family? Impossible. She looks so pretty and is so unlike the second Miss Ruan from the rumors. TSK, you shouldn't judge a book by its cover. I heard there's something wrong with her brain and that she's really vulgar. You guys could tell from the way she spoke just now. Exactly. She's caused an upheaval of chaos and indignation in the Ruan family. She was the one who caused Madame Ruan's miscarriage, the death of her own elder sister, and even stole her younger sister's man out of sheer jealousy. She's absolutely repulsive. So, you've heard those rumors as well. Yuck, how could we let someone as detestable as her be in the same class as us? An endless stream of discussion spread unhindered in the classroom. None of them were concerned whether Ruan Mengmeng might hear them, nor were any of them the slightest bit worried about angering Li Xiuli. This was because everyone knew that Li Xiuli's favorite student was Ruan Shishir. Out of everyone, she would be the one who was most likely to detest her the most. Ruan Mengmeng, let me warn you. This is WPA, not City Number 1 High School. You'd best not carry your degrading habits into this school. That was the first time the tolerant and patient Li Xiuli had relentlessly scolded a student in front of her students. A new student in a foreign environment who was immediately ostracized by all their classmates and shunned by their class teacher. If someone else was in Ruan Mengmeng's place, they would have been so overwhelmed that they would not know what to do. However, it so happened that Ruan Mengmeng was not like any other person. Instead of displaying diffidence and unease, she lifted her chin and stared straight into Li Xiuli's eyes that were filled with hatred. Ms. Li, I admit, I apologize for swearing just now. But the way I reacted was not without reason. It's because I just learned that even though I had not yet attended WPA, it seems that students of WPA have been fed false rumors about me. Anyone who was met with such slander would have acted exactly how I did. If it was something else, she would not give a damn, nor would she try to explain herself. However, the issue concerned Ruan Jiaojiao's slander toward her as well as a fabricated story about her elder sister. For those matters she would never take lightly. A straight foot has no fear of a crooked shoe. If you've never done anything wrong, you wouldn't be so worried about the rumors. Moreover, there wouldn't be waves if there wasn't any wind. Li Xiuli had enormous prejudice against Ruan Mengmeng because of Ruan Shishir's death. Therefore, she did not believe a single word that came out of her mouth. For Ruan Mengmeng was about to retort when two guys and a girl walked into the classroom. The three of them wore uniforms and all of them fashioned an armband. It's the student council. The three of them are all Ruan Jiaojiao's lackeys, Mu Jingxing whispered to Ruan Mengmeng when he saw them coming in. The three students who stood at the classroom entrance were in Senior 1, and were highly important figures within the student council. Mengmeng, the leader is called Yifeng. He's my big cousin bro. He's always had a thing for Ruan Jiaojiao, so I'm sure his appearance here means trouble. You have to be careful. Out of a sudden, a voice came from the back. Ruan Mengmeng frowned slightly and turned back to look. She found Yi Hanting sitting right behind her. At that moment, his desk mate, Li Yifan, gazed at her with worry-filled eyes. Unlike others, Mu Jingxing's two friends did not discriminate her just because she was the fabled Ruan Mengmeng. Thanks for telling me, Ruan Mengmeng nodded toward them and gave them a soft smile before she turned her head back. Without her knowledge, the two guys simultaneously turned red after she turned her head back to the front. Li Xiuli had already stepped outside of the classroom and could be seen discussing with the student council members in a hushed tone. She talked while looking at Ruan Mengmeng from outside the classroom. In the beginning, her expressions were cold as it gradually grew sterner by the moment. Ruan Mengmeng, get out here right this instant. After some time, Li Xiuli suddenly yelled at Ruan Mengmeng in a bid to summon her. Even so, Ruan Mengmeng did nothing wrong. On the other hand, the three people that stood behind Li Xiuli had their lips perked up in a scheming, smug fashion. Chapter 34 You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ruan Mengmeng's injustice in the corridor outside the senior, 13, classroom. Did you just that I'm the school delinquent and have been bullying students? Ruan Mengmeng pointed at her nose as if she misheard something. Yes. As a matter of fact, Jing Xiangjin and a few others have said that you put your hands on them first. Out of the 6 of them, 2 of them had their arms dislocated, and the remaining 4 of them had their forearms or calves broken. So, what do you have to say to that? Pfft, Ruan Mengmeng let out a laugh. She did not care how disrespectful she looked in front of the 3 student council members. She did not know who Jing Xiangjin was for sure, but she had a pretty clear picture of who it might be. She was worried that it might be the fatty that bullied Mu Jingxing. Ruan Mengmeng pursed her lips and smiled slightly at Yi Feng, who appeared to be the leader of the group, before she said, "This classmate that you speak of, are you saying that I beat up 6 students whom I have never met within an hour of me entering WPA for the first time? Not only that, but you're accusing me of dislocating arms and fracturing their calves as well as some arms in a fight against 6 people." Ruan Mengmeng's voice is soft and delicate, with an even more stunning physical appearance. Not only did the hyped-up students in the classroom think it impossible, even the 2 student council members that tagged along had doubts about the incident. How could an adorable and petite girl like Ruan Mengmeng do such a thing? Although they had doubts in his heart, the 2 who followed Yi Feng were not there to defend Ruan Mengmeng. They were there to do the complete opposite and speak up on behalf of Ruan Jiaojiao. Of course you didn't do it alone. You were obviously the mastermind and Mu Jingxing was the accomplice. Jing Xiangjin and the rest of them said that you and Mu Jingxing knew each other. And that the 2 of you threatened them together. *T, you've got some nerves, Yi Feng. Why would a guy like me ever have the need to threaten someone? The only person who does those kinds of things is that fatty, Jing Xiangjin. Mu Jingxing, who had been listening from inside the classroom, finally rolled up his sleeves and went out when he could not take it anymore. When he was about to step into the hallway, he was stared down by the class teacher, Li Xiuli. "Get back inside right now. This does not concern you." Although Li Xiuli hated Ruan Mengmeng, she was still protective of her students. In a dire situation such as this, for a Year 3 senior to commit such a serious offense, especially on the very first day of school, Mu Jingxing would be in big trouble if he was pulled into the mix. If he was to be accused of threatening and beating up students, it was either a demerit if the punishment was light or expulsion if the issue was more severe. Li Xiuli sternly said, "Although Mu Jingxing is naughty, the kid has a good family background at home. His heart is in a good place and he definitely would not participate in bullying. Yi Feng, get your student council members to check things out. I'm sure it must have been due to a certain someone's recent transfer into our school this offense took place." "Ms. Li, you're right. The student council has made our ruling. Infamous students such as Ruan Mengmeng will only bring bad faith and horrible habits to our school. WPA will not allow it at all costs. I've already submitted the application to the principal on behalf of the student council to expel Ruan Mengmeng." Yi Feng looked at Li Xiuli and continued, "Teacher Li, if it's all right with you, I'd like for you to testify for us." Chapter 35 You are listening at novelfull.audio. "Have no fear, Li Xiao is here." There was a brief moment of hesitation in Li Xiuli's eyes. Indeed, she loathed Ruan Mengmeng because of Ruan Shishir, but expelling a student was a serious matter, especially a Year 3 senior. If Li Xiuli had control over what punishment she received, she would much prefer if Ruan Mengmeng was given a demerit and warning instead. "Heh, so you guys are planning to expel me, huh?" Ruan Mengmeng said when she heard their conversation. She stood beside them and looked toward Yi Feng with an arrogant grin stretched across her face. Initially, she did not want to make the transfer to WPA. If it were not for this mess, she would not be on the brink of being expelled from WPA. However, since it was all Ruan Jiaojiao's doing, the situation took on a whole different meaning. She would never let Ruan Jiaojiao win this. Ruan Mengmeng. In case you didn't know, the Student Council of WPA has the power and responsibility to monitor and supervise student activity. As long as we find someone guilty of violating the rules, we have the right to discuss the matter directly with the principal. Yifeng had this smug look about himself as if he was just about to see Ruan Mengmeng kneel down in front of him begging for mercy in the next second. "Oh, I see," Ruan Mengmeng nodded her head sarcastically as a cheeky grin formed on her face. "For a second, I thought the student council in WPA actually had some authority. Turns out it's no more than a place for complaints and tattle-tales. How dare you?" The three of them felt embarrassed by the comment, especially the leader Yifeng, who turned as red as a brick from Ruan Mengmeng's words. The students from Senior, 13, heard everything and some of them could not help but let out some laughter. "Well, well, well. You're a brave one, aren't you, Ruan Mengmeng?" She took the words right out of my mouth. "Right. The student council only consists of students from the first few classes, they really think they're all that. They're always so fixated on punishing the last few classes. What an arrogant bunch, they definitely deserve that." It just so happened that Yifeng overheard the conversations going on inside which showed no respect for the student council. As a member of the student council, Yifeng would always show bias toward first few classes, looking down on the last classes. If he was being honest, he did not care much about how they felt about him. Now that Ruan Mengmeng put him in his place in front of everyone, essentially making him a laughingstock, Yifeng boiled with rage. "Ruan Mengmeng, Jiao is your younger sister. As the student council's vice president, she should do her best to avoid bring herself into the equation. However, because of you, she personally went to the principal to make a plea. Initially, we were planning to let you go after a grueling punishment. But for Jiao's sake. Heh. Right now, not even God can save you. Don't even think about staying another day in WPA." Yifeng finished his sentence and walked up to Ruan Mengmeng to escort her into the principal's office. At that moment, the sound of uniformed footsteps could be heard from the staircase behind Ruan Mengmeng. Everyone was caught off guard. There were two groups of guys dressed in black suits and ties who looked like professional bodyguards straight out of a television show. They were standing in neat lines as they walked into the hallway from the stairs. From behind the group of men, a lanky figure emerged. The man who walked between the two lines of bodyguards was slender and stood tall. With a height of nearly 190 centimeters, he gave off an aura of sophistication and class as he walked. With a tailored suit that fit his body like a glove, it drew attention to the definition of his muscles. From the moment the man showed up, the entire hallway's atmosphere tensed up. The way he carried himself with a sense of indifference and innate superiority resembled that of the piercing gaze of a hawk, making people feel too nervous to look at him directly. From his coldness, he exuded a sexual aura that felt inapt like a forbidden valley. The deadliest thing about him was his gaze. He had a look that no ordinary person would have. He had the look of generational wealth. From the moment he appeared, his deep, mysterious and dark gaze with eyes as cold as ice stared intently at one person. The man walked up to the lady before stopping in his tracks just inches away from her. The next moment, Ruan Mengmeng rubbed her eyes and her tough outer persona cracked immediately as she plunged herself into the arms of the man. She wrapped her tiny arms around his slim waist and cried out loud. "Wah! I don't ever want to go to school here. They're all bullying me. All of them." Chapter 36. You are listening at novelfull.audio. With Big Bro doting over her on the way to school, Li Junyu had already made his decision. He would confront Ruan Mengmeng, who was currently full of examination-induced stress, and make her serve a harsh punishment. Initially, his purpose of going to school was none other than to confront her. Yet unexpectedly, the moment he reached his destination, he was welcomed with a crushing embrace from the young girl. As Ruan Mengmeng's small hands reached around him, all of the man's back muscles tensed. However, unlike his previous encounters with overly eager women trying to win him over by throwing themselves at him, he did not kick her away in reflex as he usually would. Instead, after a momentary pause, Lee Junyo's huge palm had unconsciously landed on the young lady's fragile back, something that rarely happened, and began to pat her gently. "Who upset you? Tell me everything. You can take your time, there's no rush." Lee Junyo's signature husky voice was tinged with cold austerity. As he held Ruan Mengmeng, he lifted his cold gaze slightly to look at Yi Feng and the rest of the gang standing behind her. A glance was all that was needed. The powerful intimidation behind it was sufficient enough to make the three members of the school council freeze like statues. They were still students, after all. No matter how arrogant they acted in school, they had yet to be met with real power. There was nothing they could do to stop their legs from turning into jelly. Everyone was speechless. "Sob, they're accusing me of beating people up. That's not true. I'm a girl. How could I be capable of bullying 6 boys?" Ruan Mengmeng sniffed and sobbed, nestling her head into Lee Junyo's chest. As though she was truly a weak and delicate young girl. "They look down on me because I just transferred from the city's first high school. They accused me of so many things on the first day I transferred over. I don't want to study here anymore, I don't deserve to be in wisdom." The young girl's voice, laced with sobs in between, cried of indignance. Those who watched her lashing out at others and embarrassing the student council just now were currently dumbstruck. They watched on with their mouths agape as Ruan Mengmeng kept up her performance. Especially Mu Jingxing. His jaw dropped so low it was wide enough to fit a goose egg. Others might be able to get away with the excuse of misunderstanding Ruan Mengmeng, but, how could he? Damn it! Was this still the same Ruan Mengmeng he knew? The fool who only knew how to irritate people. However, despite her theatrical performance, Lee Junyo still felt some heartache watching her. She lost her mother at a young age. She recently lost her elder sister and was bullied in the Ruan family because of it. After just entering a strange, new environment, she was immediately and unforgivingly ostracized. Lee Junyo, who was usually repulsed by the cries of a woman, could only think about how lovingly fragile Ruan Mengmeng's tears were, giving him the impulse to wipe away her tears. With his left arm tightening its grip around her petite body, Lee Junyo frowned and reassured in his low voice, "Don't cry. They've wronged you. Big Bro will give you justice." This entire affair was meant to be nothing more than a minor issue that his father had asked him to correct. However, at this moment, a massively strong urge to project the young girl erupted in his heart. At the very least, he should be able to discipline her as his second, third, or fourth brother would. But they're all students from class 1, and also members of the student council. Ruan Mengmeng raised her head. Her round, almond eyes brimming with tears that glinted in the sunlight. Redness blossomed around her eye sockets and the tip of her nose. Her pitiful gaze met Lee Junyo's icy black eyes, causing his eyes to darken slightly. His right palm gently patted the top of her soft hair and he coaxed, "It doesn't matter, you will soon be part of class 1, and the student council. It's about time the student council of Wisdom Academy experienced changed." After saying that, he ignored everyone else. Lee Junyo leaned forward, lifted Ruan Mengmeng's soft and petite body off the ground as he hugged her, and turned away. You can't leave. I still have to bring her to the principal's office." Yi Feng suddenly snapped out of his shock and responded. Chapter 37. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Finger-pointing competition. Yi Feng stepped forward to stop Ruan Mengmeng and Lee Junyo from leaving. Yet, Lee Junyo had no plans of stopping and continued walking. The bodyguards he brought with him pushed Yi Feng onto the ground without any hesitation the moment Yi Feng attempted to chase after the duo. "This is a school. You're not allowed to hurt anyone." Li Xiuli regained her senses at that moment and stepped forward to put a stop to the chaos. Meanwhile, the other 2 student council members were similarly jolted awake from the shout and butted in as well. Unfortunately for them, the bodyguards had managed to seal up the pathway completely until Li Junyu and Ruan Mengmeng's silhouettes disappeared down the staircase. None of them stood a chance at reaching the duo. A brief pause later, after the bodyguards left, Yi Feng furiously stormed up to Li Xiuli. "Ms. Li, you must come with me to report this to the principal." Ruan Mengmeng disregarded the rules and brought violence to the school. Those men just now were all brought in by her. Also, I suspect that she serves as a mistress to that man. It's obvious that she has an inappropriate relationship with him. You must testify for us. This, Li Xiuli hesitated. Although Ruan Mengmeng was in the wrong, Li Xiuli could not help but feel that Yi Feng was being disrespectful in the manner in which he was asking her. "Ms. Li, you mustn't hesitate. It's crucial that Wisdom's current school spirit isn't tainted. Just come with us." On the other hand, Ruan Mengmeng snuggled meekly into Li Junyu's embrace. Ruan Mengmeng was utterly confused. What was up with Li Junyu? Why has he been holding her in his arms so frequently and for no particular reason? When they were back home, Li Junyu's treatment toward Ruan Mengmeng was immensely different and apathetic. However, she was behaving coquettishly simply in order to sell her performance. Funnily enough, he believed her. In all honesty, Ruan Mengmeng was definitely a far bigger mess than anyone else right now. When she was with the Ruan family, she often made to be the scapegoat by Ruan Jiaojiao. Ruan Mengmeng was used to carrying the weight of everything on her shoulders, never shedding a single tear over the crushing injustice she experienced. It did not matter anyway, it was impossible for Ruan Mengmeng to win the pity competition no matter how hard she cried or sobbed. Ruan Jiaojiao was just much better at that. However, at the moment, the man she was hugging wholeheartedly believed her every word upon seeing the redness around her eyes and her voice laden with sobs. Ruan Mengmeng felt slightly guilty about the whole thing. It was not Ruan Mengmeng's intention to lie to Li Junyu. It was just that the moment she saw him, she was compelled to act in that manner to save her own skin. You can put me down now," said Ruan Mengmeng with a timid voice, tugging at Li Junyu's shirt collar gently. She raised her head slightly. Beneath her sparkling eyes, the watery streaks of drying tears shone so clear and so bright. Li Junyu lowered his head and inadvertently locked gaze with a mesmerizing pair of almond-shaped eyes. The only thought that registered in his head was how helpless her gaze was, looking at him as though she was a small, wounded animal yearning for protection. With his arms around her slender limbs, he could not bear to let go and instead, hugged her tighter. "Big bro," Ruan Mengmeng cooed. I can walk on my own." Big bro, they were both in close proximity to each other. In his tight embrace, Ruan Mengmeng could smell his overpowering male scent. Ruan Mengmeng felt her strength slipping away from her. Even her usually fearless heart palpitated like an overexcited fawn. This sensation was too strange for her liking and she wished she could just get away. However, unbeknownst to her, those sweet, diabetes-inducing words, "big bro," from her sounded extremely alluring to men's ears. Li Junyu had 3 younger brothers and no sisters at all. As long as she remained obedient, Li Junyu would not mind having an adorable and docile younger sister like her. "Your legs are too short to keep up with me." Internally, he knew that he only wanted an excuse to hold her a while longer. Using the most pathetic excuse he could conjure up, Li Junyu still managed to be convincing enough that she didn't think to question it. Short. Her legs. Short. Ruan Mengmeng's height was around 5 feet 5. With her perfect body proportions, although not a towering presence among girls, her legs were not short by any means. Ruan Mengmeng never expected that she would ever hear herself be referred to as short by someone. So what if he was 6 feet 3? If anything, he would be wasting a few more meters of cloth to make his clothes. Noel and the pink bubbles of affection that gushed from Ruan Mengmeng's heart were instantly demolished by the anger incited by the man's words. Whatever. With that being said, Juan Mengmeng still decided to stay put in his arms and wait to see what his intentions were. After a while, Li Junyu gently let Juan Mengmeng down on a sofa in the school director's office. As Li Junyu's visit was so sudden, the assistant school director who had assisted them earlier scrambled out of the office to get the school director. "Why are we here?" Juan Mengmeng asked with a timid voice, tugging at Li Junyu's sleeve. The man lowered his smoldering, provocative gaze. Juan Mengmeng's ears began to burn a bright red. "Indictment," he whispered. On the other hand, at the very same moment, Yi Feng and Ms. Li, along with the fatty who just got his arm treated, marched together to the door of the school principal's office. Chapter 38. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ho ho, snitching failed, what? This really happened. After hearing the story Yi Feng told, the few strands of hair that Principal Wang called eyebrows knotted tightly with each other as he frowned. Yi Feng nodded. Not forgetting to spice up the news, he added, "That's right. We only intended on bringing this matter up to the principal's office, putting the student's name down for severe misconduct before reprimanding her for it. Who would have known that apart from being extremely uncooperative, she brought in her bodyguards to intimidate us in a bid to disrupt our work too. Sir, I'm sure you're aware of how rich and how precious the students in wisdom are. How many of those among us don't have bodyguards of our own? Yet, she disregarded the school rules and committed acts of violence on school grounds." Yi Feng's excitement was uncontainable. He could not wait to receive praise and approval from Wan Jiaojiao. Even though Jiaojiao was a kind-hearted and innocent girl, he could see that she has experienced many hardships, enduring endless days of torture living with her elder sister, the tyrannical Juan Mengmeng. It was all Yi Feng needed to send him on this vendetta against Juan Mengmeng. There was no way he would sit this out. He refused to stand by and let Jiaojiao be bullied by Juan Mengmeng. He must utilize this opportunity to chase Juan Mengmeng out of Wisdom Private Academy. Principal Wang had always made it his mission to uphold Wisdom Academy's flawless reputation. When he heard that Juan Mengmeng brought her bodyguards to school, he felt nothing but excruciating suffocation. Not to mention, the fatty, Jing Xiangjin, kept blowing up the story at the side. The Yi and Jing families were two of the most prestigious families in all of S City. On the other hand, that student named Juan Mengmeng. Based on what he gathered, she was just an unloved daughter from the Juan family. Juan Mengmeng was the guilty one in the matter, and also one without a powerful family to support her. Needless to say, Principal Wang already had his verdict. No investigation needed. The audacity. I will never let a student like her remain in our school. All of you wait here, I'm going to give the Office of Academic Affairs a call. I'll make them revoke Juan Mengmeng's status as a student. Yi Feng and Jing Xiangjin, along with two other members of the student council, exchanged smug glances with one another. A glint of satisfaction flashed across their eyes. However, Li Xiuli, who stood at the side the whole time, had her eyebrows furrowed tightly against each other in worry. She was already in Senior 3. Was it truly necessary for them to expel a student at this stage of their education? Immediately after Principal Wang dialed for the Office of Academic Affairs via the internal phone line, the mobile phone that he left aside on the table started ringing. He glanced at the phone screen. Immediately, his expression turned serious yet respectful. Yes. Yes, this is me. That's right, that's what happened. No, why would I do that? They're all rumors. Yes. All right. Yes, rest assured, I'll handle this matter fairly. Yes, you're right, sir. Wisdom shouldn't slander any students at all. Yes, noted, I'll do my best. I'll make all the appropriate arrangements now. This single phone call from the school director himself sent cold sweat pouring out from Principal Wang's every pore. He never would have thought that a mere transfer student could trigger the usually laid-back school director into getting involved. A polite smile was plastered across Principal Wang's face. He used the most cautious and servile tone whilst speaking with the director. After he hung up the phone, only then did he allow himself to heave a long sigh. Phew, Principal Wang wiped off the cold sweat on his forehead. He could not help feeling a crippling fear amounting in his heart in the aftermath. Good Lord! He was that close to expelling Ruan Mengmeng. Thankfully, he had yet to do anything. Otherwise, he would not just lose his position as the principal, he might have offended whatever big shot stood behind Ruan Mengmeng. At that thought, Principal Wang raised his head to look at Yi Feng and the gang who were standing behind the office desk. The school principal's murky black eyes were filled with anger and resentment. Sir, the phone call just now, Yi Feng could sense something went wrong, judging from Principal Wang's facial expression. However, it was obvious that Ruan Mengmeng was guilty here. Yi Feng could not think of anything that could turn the matter in their favor. Humph, Yi Feng. I'm very disappointed in the student council. Miss Ruan has outstanding moral integrity and excellent academic performance. Her transfer from City No. 1 High School is an honor to us at Wisdom. How dare you slander such an outstanding student? Chapter 39. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The face smacking has not ended yet, sir. Why would we intentionally slander her? Within moments of her transfer here, she had already threatened and beaten up 6 of our students. Everyone witnessed this. Humph, so you say. She just arrived here today. What reason would she have to threaten her fellow students? Moreover, she's a girl. How did she manage to beat 6 boys? Only the student council could come up with such a ridiculous excuse. Principal Wang slammed his palm onto the office desk. His anger was so great that his beard twitched frantically. Principal Wang felt that his brain must have been slathered in glue for him to have believed these people's words. No, sir. Actually, it wasn't just Ruan Mengmeng alone. She had an accomplice. Mu Jingxing from Senior, 13, was her alleged accomplice. Yi Feng was covered in sweat. He could not wrap his head around how a simple reporting of a bad act could take such a bad turn for the worse. Humph, so what if she had help? Before we even consider the fact that Miss Ruan is a girl, even if she was a boy, that would make them 2 boys. Can they win a fight against 6 boys? Are you questioning my judgment? No, of course not. Yi Feng denied it. Whatever initial expression he had before was replaced with a contorted yet submissive expression. Principal Wang glared at Yi Feng like he was doing everything in his power to stop himself from gnawing down Yi Feng's bones. Yi Feng did not know how he could have offended the school principal. Yi Feng's head hung low, he wished the ground would just swallow him up. He lost all sense of joy and pride at that moment. Principal Wang shot him another murderous glare. Then, his glance shifted toward the fatty standing next to Yi Feng. On another topic, you there. Jing Xiangjin. Tell me the truth, were you the one who was bullying someone, but now you're trying to pin the blame on someone else instead? Sir, I'm not lying. Everything I said is true. Jing Xiangjin was on the verge of tears. Although he was actually the one who threatened someone initially, he was also the one who ended up getting beat up. Everything he said was true. 6 of them were knocked down by that petite female student. Jing Xiangjin, still not telling the truth. You're usually the one bullying students. When was the last time you were bullied? Don't you dare think that I'll steer clear of you just because of your brother. I don't want to hear any more false explanations from you. Go apologize to Miss Ruan immediately. But sir, it's clear that Ruan Mengmeng was the one who beat up Jing. Yi Feng could not keep it in and raised his head as he attempted to argue. Yi Feng could not bear watching Ruan Mengmeng get off scot-free. Before Yi Feng could finish his sentence, he was abruptly interrupted by Principal Wang. If you think this matter is only related to Jing Xiangjin, you're mistaken. Yi Feng, you're not exempted from this. The order from the phone call re-emerged in Principal Wang's mind. His face darkened and his gaze turned deadly serious. You, and you too, Principal Wang looked at Yifeng, and then shifted his gaze to look at the two students standing behind Yifeng. Your acts of slander toward a new student has tarnished the school and the student council's reputation greatly. Therefore, from now onward, all of you will be suspended from your positions in the student council. Until you apologize to Miss Ruan and obtain her forgiveness, only then will you be allowed to return to your respective positions. What? We have to apologize to her. This time, it was not just Yifeng. Even the other two students exclaimed in shock at the news. Meanwhile, Ruan Mengmeng sat obediently next to Li Junyu. His long, slender fingers slid among Ruan Mengmeng's fluffy locks of black hair, caressing them gently. Such an intimate move clearly displayed how protective and loving the man was toward the young lady. That was the thought that crossed the director's mind at that moment. He rubbed his hands together, slightly nervous. Young Master Li, you don't have to worry. I've done the necessary arrangements. There won't be any mistakes. The school director was over the age of 50. He was clad in a suit and a tie. The middle-aged man who always branded a serious face when in school now bent his waist in front of Li Junyu with his head low. He looked humble and uneasy. Other than the issue with the class transfer, there is a need for an in-depth investigation in the student council, Li Junyu ordered in a slightly lazy voice, sitting with his legs folded. With one hand gently caressing Ruan Mengmeng's soft, flowy long hair, his other hand casually tapped on the sofa armrest. Li Junyu looked at the director with a cold stare. With his eyes squinting slightly and his chin raised slightly, he had a naturally domineering demeanor. Yes, I'll make sure to carry a thorough investigation. I'll switch out the people in the current batch. You don't have to go through the trouble. Li Junyu's deep, husky voice interrupted coldly. Li Junyu glanced over to his side. His piercing, cold gaze fell on the girl's blushing cherubic cheeks. His glare, initially masked by an unreadable coldness, relaxed a little at the sight of her face. With his huge palm, he gave Ruan Mengmeng's head a few affectionate rubs and said casually, "My younger sister is a pretty good choice. Let her be the next president of the student council." Chapter 40. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Young Master Li, you will regret this in the future, me. Hearing the news, Ruan Mengmeng could no longer keep up the innocent young sister image that she had been faking. She turned around to look at Li Junyu and pointed at herself with her index finger. Her face was plastered with shock. Although she really wanted to see Ruan Jiaojiao get humiliated, she never even thought of vying for the position of student council president. She was okay with allowing herself to play video games, play truant, or even participate in high school interschool sports competition to make her school proud. However, holding a position as the student council president had always been a job that belonged to good students. She had never been associated with those. Out of her expectation, after listening to Li Junyu's orders, the school director showed no shred of hesitation. He responded immediately, "Don't worry, young Master Li, I'll make sure your requests are met. Our school rule dictates that the student council election will be held in the first month of every new semester. In a month's time, the position of student council president will be in Miss Ruan's hands." Very well. Li Junyu nodded. Despite being quite displeased with the time frame, it was still acceptable to him. Li Junyu raised his chin and looked at the school director in a condescending manner, "Leave us." Clearly, young Master Li had something to say to his younger sister in private. Although the director was very curious about this Miss Ruan, why would she have the surname Ruan, when Li Junyu claimed she was his younger sister, he did not dare ask and turned around to leave. On the surface, Li Junyu was merely the most powerful member of the school's board of directors. However, only the school director was aware of Li Junyu's true identity. Wait. At that moment, the man's deep voice rose again. The director froze in his footsteps immediately. "Young Master Li, is there anything else I can help you with?" Lee Junyu lowered his voice to a minimum. It was stricter and colder than his tone earlier. Keep this a secret, as usual. Deal with it like how you dealt with third young master and fourth young master's cases. Yes, I understand. Rest assured, young Master Lee. The director wiped the beads of sweat off his forehead, feeling grateful that he had never been a chatterbox and managed to avoid accidentally revealing the fact that two sons from the Lee family were studying in Wisdom Private Academy. The Lee family had always preferred to be low-key. The Lee family, despite being the richest family in S-country in aristocracy unknown to the world, very few people knew what the current members of the Lee generation looked like. The only person who did not bother keeping a low profile was the unruly second young master, Lee Junting. It seemed like from now on, Miss Ruan would have the same arrangement as the third and fourth young master. No one could know that the Lee family behind her back even if she was studying in Wisdom. The moment the director walked off, Wan Mengmeng sensed an immediate shift in the mood of the man next to her. While he had appeared to be casual and laid back just now, even a little affectionate toward her, he retracted his huge palm that was resting on her head. Lee Junyu pulled away from Wan Mengmeng. With a subtle peek, he scanned her from head to toe with his pair of cold, indifferent eyes. In a split second, Wan Mengmeng detected a cold suffocating aura in the air beginning to envelop her. She felt uncomfortable. She raised her small face and asked without waiting for him to react, "You have something to tell me?" She had been sitting next to him obediently the whole time. She did not seem to recall offending him. She could not wrap her head around how rapidly the man's emotion could change. "Like I said, as long as you follow my orders, to the outside world, I can be your big brother and help you deal with any trouble that comes your way." The man's deep voice echoed in the spacious office. Compared to when he was coaxing her, his tone was distinctly calm and nonchalant, as though they were discussing a regular business deal. "In fact, I can help you to escalate everything that happened between you and the Ruan family's illegitimate daughter, and the slander against you." When he spoke of this, Lee Junyu suddenly shifted his body closer, reducing the distance between both of them. His long, slender fingers latched onto Wan Mengmeng's chin. The gentleness and heartache in his eyes from earlier were long gone. His eyes exuded nothing but the coldest and penetrative threats. "But you need to stop fooling around. The best class, the position as the student council president. I will provide you with only the best. And you. The only thing you have to do is to act like a proper daughter of the Lee family and relieve my father and your mother of their worries. In other words, I don't want to see any nonsensical answers in your assessment test that will take place in a week's time."